now that it's over and you've had a couple days to digest, is there a way to sort of reconcile what occurred in Game 7 as opposed to the success of the overall season?
Yeah, Game 7's always going to sit with you. I think we had a good enough team to go further. Mentally and physically, I'm not ready to be done yet. I don't think a lot of guys in there are. But that being said, after having a couple days to reflect on it, the season was still a bit of a success for us. It's nice to finally take a couple steps forward after being stuck in neutral for a while. It's nice to have a little bit of progress. And that being said, we've got something pretty important to work towards going into next season.
The next step, probably even more difficult than the one you guys just took. What do you feel the group has to do collectively to get to the next step next season?
Well, I think we went through what we had to do. We had to get to the playoffs. We had to experience it. And I think we had just about every possible experience squeezed into 13 games. Whether it was blowout wins, blowout losses, comebacks, both ways, closing a team out. There's just so much to be experienced there. And I think getting there and going through it at least one time now, we'll be better served for it going forward.
Mark, how would you describe the relationship between some of the guys in their late 20s and early 30s and, the young guys who were drivers on the team like McDavid and Leon, and maybe how that contributed to how the team progressed this year?
Yeah, I think it's a tight-knit group in there. Everything, when Connor talks about how everybody has a voice, he's not just, blowing smoke. It's true in there. Everybody's got a voice. There's not a divide in the room. It's not cliquey or anything like that. We've got a really good group. It's special in there. I think that's why it's so disappointing that we're going home right now. We're not done being around each other. We really enjoy each other's company that much. And the experiences that we've been able to share with each other, I think you've seen that in what's gone forward with the team.
Can you equate being in Pittsburgh, Draisaitl, McDavid, Crosby, Malkin? You were actually in Pittsburgh with those two guys.
It's not totally fair to make those comparisons, but I think the way the coaches has used them would be similar to the way Dan used Sid and Gino there, where at times he'd put them together, at times he'd split them apart. I think it creates matchup problems, clearly. In two different series, we had to give two different looks to have success. But those guys, they're pretty established and have been doing it for a long time. I'd like to see our guys have the same kind of careers, same kind of longevity, and obviously the same kind of success.
Was Leon better than you thought he would be going in this season? I saw him last year, but
I don't think Leon got enough credit for what he did last year. I think a lot of the credit was given to Taylor and that he kind of carried Leon, but I don't think Leon got nearly the credit he deserved in what he had brought to that line. And I think he proved that this year. There was questions about if he'd still be able to do what he did last year without him. And I think he exceeded that. And I think that's the kind of chip that he plays with. He wants to be the best, every night, and that includes Connor. He wants to be better than Connor. So I think when you have those two kind of internally driving each other, you're going to get those kind of players and those kind of performances that we've seen.
Mark, and now you guys have kind of set the foundations, and the expectations for next season will be perhaps a little bit higher. Can you speak to that going into the...
Yeah, it's no different than it was last off season. We feel like the foundation was actually put in place last year, and we've just built upon it. The bar's gone higher now. The expectations, like you said, have gone up. Does that mean that we're going to get to where we got to this year every year? Maybe not, but that's our expectations. We're not expecting to sneak into the playoffs. We're going after division titles, and Stanley Cup's the goal here. It's no longer a hope. It's the goal.
can you look at other teams that were on the precipice of getting better, like Chicago before they got Cage and Taves? They lost in the finals, and then they won the next year. And Sydney, they had to lose a little bit, and then they won.
I hope that's the recipe. I mean, it would play out nicely if that was the recipe. I think it's a little too easy to claim that success is guaranteed now that we've taken a couple steps forward. I think, there's been teams like the Islanders who have seemingly took a step forward and then the next year took one back. So I think we have to be conscious of that the summer we have to still put in the work. We're not going to sneak up on anybody next year. Everybody's going to be ready for us. Next season, to me, is going to be even more difficult. And a bigger challenge for this group.
You can see teams, free agents now, all of a sudden.
Well, players want to play for winners. If they see Edmonton as a clearer path to winning a Stanley Cup, people will come here, for sure.
Thanks, Mark. Got Darnell.
as a group, obviously everybody took a step. For you, you look at your game overall. What are you going to be working on this summer? What do you need to do next year to continue to improve?
Well, just continue to grow. I think it was a good year, a lot of growth. Got better in a lot of areas. Obviously, us not getting to the next round, that's the ultimate goal. The team goal is always the ultimate goal. But felt good about my game, and just got to continue to work on simple things and get better.
What about your own game? How do you think you progressed this playoff?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. Had a strong year. I think obviously the injury, you never want to go through an injury where you're out for 3 months, but showed I could bounce back.
What do you think you learned in the playoffs playing 13 games against two really good teams yourself?
Yeah, obviously you get to the playoffs and it's a completely different animal. The way that teams check, the intensity on the ice, the atmospheres in the buildings, it brings a new dimension. But like I said, it was a lot of fun to be a part of, a lot of growth, and just gear up for next year.
Now that you got a taste of it, Darnell, what's it going to be like for you in the offseason, and how do you set up for next season?
Yeah, it's inspiring. I think we're always motivated. As athletes, you're always motivated, but being through this experience, it adds a little extra, and I know everyone will be highly motivated coming into next year.
Thanks, Darnell.
Jordan, you had to change your game to become more of a 200-foot player. It looks like it took some of the offensive shine off it. What do you do to get that back?
I mean, that's a confidence thing, really. Obviously, especially the postseason didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I think our team made strides towards playing better hockey. I think you look at the way that we've designed our game to be able to play a better team game and win hockey games. I think that's the most important thing. So obviously, I think I got it better all around defensively, but obviously, especially early in the year, I wanted to put the puck in the net a little bit more.
And certainly in the playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's the one that really stings. You take this long to get to the playoffs, and you don't perform and play to your standards. That's what hurts. But I think the biggest thing is got there and got experience, and we'll be back and better.
In previous years, you had that burst from the top of the circle. You beat guys wide. We didn't see that a lot this season. Do you have to alter your offseason? Did you feel that maybe you weren't as quick this year as you were in previous years?
I don't think that's the case at all. I think looking back, especially in the season, the chances were there. It's just got to capitalize, and that's goes back to confidence issue. That goes back to just feeling good and putting the puck in the net. So obviously, off season you always focus on things, and this one will be the same. But coming back, I'll be better.
So what do you do then to ensure your confidence doesn't take a hit next season?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think just scoring. Like I said, the chances were there. I watched a lot of video this year, and they were there. You just got to finish and put the puck in the net. I think the league's become much tighter as far as defensive play, and I think my defensive play has gotten better. But obviously, you still want to be a guy that's going to be able to produce, and I still think I'm available to do that.
Did you notice if you don't produce, does it impact the other areas of your game?
Yeah, I like to think of myself as a goal scorer. So if that's not happening, I mean, you got to be able to do something. So I try to be a little more physical in the playoffs and play with a little bit more edge. But I mean, ultimately, you want to score and put the puck in the net. I think if we do that, especially our line in the last series, I think we have a better chance of winning. So obviously that's ownership on myself, and it stings going into the summer, but something to build on.
Is that a motivating thing for you? You've went into the summer frustrated with the team having no success. The team this year had way more success, and then individually, you didn't have the same success. Do you have a chip on your shoulder? Do you feel like you have a lot to prove this summer and then heading into next year?
Oh, 100%. That's something that you're gonna, feel all summer and motivate you and drive you into next year. That's something that motivates you. So, like I said, I think obviously you gain a lot of experience with how the season went, and loved playing into the end of the season and into the playoffs. But ultimately, you want to be a go-to guy, and that the way it ended, that's going to build and fuel you next year for sure.
Jordan, do you think that you'll be back next year? I mean, we ask you this kind of at the end of every season, but does this one feel different?
I can't answer that question. I mean, it's not in my hands to where it goes. So ultimately, obviously, this team took a huge jump this year and huge leap in the way that we perform, and I love being a part of it. And it's you watch the city and how it went during the playoff run, and you heard about it all the whole time I was here, and finally got a taste of it. I loved it. So obviously want to be back and be a part of that. This is a special group right now, and I think this loss in the playoffs is only going to build us into the future.
Will you work with anybody different in the offseason than you have before?
Yeah, I mean, there's always things. I think the progression of the game, it's become a lot faster. You obviously want to build more foot speed. You want to get stronger. I think at my age, the game is really fast, and you want to be able to keep up with it. I think I've always considered myself a smarter player. I like to think the game, so you watch a lot of video and those things. So, but you know what? For me, it's just you want to be able to come into the season feeling as good as you can and confident.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Good luck in the marathon.
Couple of days to process things, Adam. I guess it's disappointing, but overall, do you feel pretty good about the season as a whole?
I think so. I think this team took a lot of steps in the right direction this year, and obviously it was a disappointing ending to it. But looking back, we had a lot of ups and downs, but I thought we had a pretty strong year overall.
Do you like the fact that you've got one partner you can play with every game? It's always comforting, I presume, for defensemen to have the same guy.
Yeah, I think it's nice to build chemistry between the two of us, and obviously we didn't know each other that well as players when we just started, but overall I thought as the season went on, we played better and better.
Some guys, it took a while for them to get comfortable in a new city. That didn't seem to be an issue for you. Why were you able to step right in and be comfortable from the get-go?
I had a lot of confidence coming in, and the guys in the rooms made it very easy for me. I felt like I fitted in the room since day one, and I've had a lot of fun during this year, and we got a lot of good days ahead of us.
What did you make of just the playoff atmosphere?
So how would you sort of recap your overall feelings on the team and the season?
Talking through the guys, it's obviously really disappointing losing Game 7 to Anaheim. I thought 5 and 6 got away from us that we could have closed out. But as a whole, as a season, I thought this team did a really good job. I thought we've come a long way. We took a lot of strides, and guys should be really proud and their accomplishments. You know, we made some big moves in the offseason that were a huge addition to this team and great leaders on and off the ice, and with Luch and Lars, and obviously having Towles back there, having the year he did was, you know, obviously always a plus, because I think a goalie in this league goes a long way, and if you have a good goalie, your team's going to feed off that. So I thought all in all our team was good. You know, we're so close, and you know it's just only going to get better from here.
But you had a career year in goals and in points, and I know you'd mentioned how I think you lost 10 pounds. What do you how do you build on that this off season? Are you looking to lose a few more to get quicker? How do you ensure that wasn't just a one-off?
Just do it again. Can't take the summer off, and just what I did last summer, I'm just going to do the same exact thing. If I come in lighter, if I don't come in lighter, for me it was just kind of trying to find ways to get my body fat down and just look in shape, look the part. So just got to find ways to just do it again. You know, I'm going to do it again. I know I'm going to do it again. It's, you know, I saw myself as a career year this year, and you know I made some really good strides in my game, and as a person I matured as a player. So for me, it's gonna do it again, and hopefully good things continue to happen.
Is it easier, because it's a lot of work in the off season, of course, to maintain all that, especially lowering your body fat? Is it easier to have that motivation when you see the success?
Oh, I'm already ahead of the 8 ball, so I'm a lot better in shape now than I was last summer going into the summer. So. That's a start. I'm already there. Now it's just maintaining it and just continuing to do it. This is a lifestyle. You have to dedicate yourself to the lifestyle if you want to have a good year and have a good career in this business. It's hard business, and a lot of people only play 4 or 5 years. So I got to find ways to maintain my body and continue to do it, and hopefully good things happen.
Leslie was just saying the bar's been raised now for next season, and you're not going to catch any other teams by surprise now. Can you just kind of speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Teams know we're for real now, and I think everyone knows Edmonton Oilers are no joke anymore. I think we made some strides all year, and for us as a group, we've been doing it all year, but it came down to systems and playing the right way and doing the things the right way. And this team wasn't a good bounce-back team for many years, and we'd lose a heartbreaker, and we'd come back and we'd win the next night. And usually before, Edmonton Oilers would lose 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. That's not us anymore. So we made a lot of strides this year, and the guys should be really proud of. And you know, for me, it's just exciting to see because the future's so bright in this room.
It's important going into the summer and into next season to know that it's not going to be automatic that you're better next year, that you're going to have to work and work harder than you did this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think guys are going to have to come in good shape again and work really hard in the offseason. Just remember what happened in Game 7 in Anaheim. It's always going to be in the back of your mind, and you got to remember those feelings because you never know when you're going to get back to the playoffs. You never know when you're going to get your opportunity to play for the Stanley Cup again. So just for me, just tell the guys to remind yourself how that feeling was after you lost that Game 7 and, you know, how hard it was just to get there. Not even to play in that game, just to get to where we were. It was just getting the playoffs and then playing San Jose and then playing Anaheim. You know, just that feeling of, you know, and that excitement of how close we were and how close we are from winning the championship.
Do you think the perception around the league is also really good for the example? Players whose contracts might be up, suddenly they're looking at the Oilers a heck of a lot differently than they used to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to be seeing more unrestricted free agents sign here, I would say. With Connor and Leon, I mean, those are probably the best 1-2 punches in the NHL right now, besides Crosby and Malkin. So I would put them up there with anyone. And to have those two as 1-2, this team's going to have a bright future. And I think you'll see a lot more guys heading towards Edmonton.
Is that the motivator for you to ensure that you maintain your game so you can not only, you said, stay in the league, but stay and have the opportunity to play with either one of those for the next few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be great. Obviously, playing with Connor was a heck of a run for me. That was exciting, and I get to play with everyone. But everyone forgets we have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins too. I mean, we have 3 good centermen that I think anyone in this league would love to play with any 3 of those players. So it's an exciting time for the Edmonton Oilers. I know the city's buzzing right now, and I know a lot of people are excited. I think, if it was me, I wish we could start tomorrow and restart the season again. But unfortunately, that's not how it goes. But I think our team's good with Leon and Connor, and obviously I got the chance to play both of those. But people forget about Nuge, and we got Nuge too. So we got and Letestu. And Letestu had a career year too. So our team's looking really good right now, and I think anyone would love to play with any 4 of those players.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. That's it.
Personal development standpoint, did this year go maybe even better than you might have hoped, just where you started and where you ended up?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, coming into this year, I didn't know what pro hockey was like, didn't know what anything was like. So for me, coming in and having a chance to play early and getting that opportunity was special for me. And then the older guys did a great job and just kind of teaching me how to be a pro and how to handle myself and treat my body over the whole season, which is a lot longer than college season.
I mean, you get asked a lot about the extra games. What were some of the specific things maybe you had to do or that you did learn that kept the motor running into May?
I think more so you just kind of learn how to manage your energy and your time. Previous years you wouldn't, maybe get enough sleep, where this year that was one thing is sleep as much as you can for me, just so you have the energy for the games, and a lot of sleep time is lost when you're traveling, so when you can make that up, it's important.
What was it like? Do you consider yourself now, you came in as a rookie, now you look at it, so you're in the top 4 in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think you've obviously made huge strides.
Yeah, I think over the season I've adapted. Starting off, you just kind of weeding things out and see how players play and how good they are and what you need to do to be successful and kind of stick. So coming into the league, I thought that I just needed to focus on being a good defender, and then with time and opportunity, I thought that throughout the season and into the playoffs, my offensive game was a little bit better. For me, it's just kind of building every game and every opportunity.
During the year, you took that big shot, and then you were out for a bit. Did that take a while for you to really get over afterwards, now that the season's over?
Not so much. I mean, it happens regardless of where you play. For me, I just need to make sure that I put myself in better situations where I don't get hit like that. It's a learning experience, and going forward, I obviously don't want that to happen, but I know I got to put myself in better spots.
So now that you played a full season,
like playing with Connor in the last couple of games?
Fun. He's obviously a tremendous player, world-class player, and to get the opportunity to play with him, it was it felt good. The coaches had faith in me and trusted me to put me in that position, and to play alongside a guy like that, it's obviously a lot of fun. Playing with that much speed and making plays all over the ice, it's a lot of fun to do that, and I was glad to get that opportunity.
As a young guy, and now you've kind of got a taste of this whole playoff run, how does it kind of set you up for going into the off season next year?
Yeah. You gain a lot of experience. You know how to handle certain situations. You know how hard it is to get to where we were, and how hard it is to move on from there. And going into next season, it gives you a lot of confidence, and you know that you can play at that level, and just hopefully you can build off that, and use it as motivation to get better next year.
Earning a coach's trust is huge. You're kind of like the jack of all trades, center, left wing, ended up playing right wing. Is there one you feel the most comfortable at? Do you talk to Todd, or are you just happy to move all over?
I mean, you want to play as much as you can in whatever position that is. That gives you the best opportunity to play. You're going to do it. And I think I'm most comfortable playing left wing. It's been my home for the last 4 years at school, and then playing this year mostly at left wing after a certain point. But it's certainly a position I feel more comfortable in, and hopefully can find a home there.
So you come into camp next year. You went into camp this year, and coaches didn't know much about you. You come in now, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I kind of proved to the coaches where I should be in the lineup, or are you looking at it like, okay, it's only 1 year, I still have to show them that I'm a real top 6 player or top.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to prove something every single year. Nothing's ever going to be given to you. You gotta make sure you earn it. And I'm going to come into camp next year and try and prove that I can play high up in the lineup. And you can always build off of it this year and move forward. But you just gotta stay hungry and keep fighting for higher positions.
You have a really good shot. Was one of your aspects learning to get in the position to use it more or get it off quicker? Is that going to be the focus of the off season for you?
Yeah, I think try to use my shot as much as I can, but it's a tough league, and you got to find ways to get pucks through to the net. And there's a few times coming in on rushes where pucks got deflected into the netting, and that's a missed opportunity. So just want to make sure you find those lanes. At college, you had to learn how to get shots through in college. Now it's a higher level, and you got to find a way to do it again. And there's always things to learn, and just got to keep building.
Drake, you always said in college you were kind of a slow player. You started slow.
Now the season's over, what was the ailment when you took that shot? Where did it hit you? Where did it hurt you?
It got me almost in the armpit. It was I had tough time breathing, so every time I got exhausted, it was a little scary actually. I didn't get that much air that I was needed, so it was tough. I feel like you let the whole team down, but apparently they did almost better without me. So I don't know. Maybe I should stay away from the team in the future. But no, it was tough. But now I'm glad I played the last game for sure.
You look at this season, the number one thing for you at the start was to stay healthy. And, outside of missing the one game with the breathing, you stayed healthy. How much confidence does that give you that maybe all the injury stuff's in the past?
I mean, that was my main goal coming into the season, obviously with a really tough one last year and very tough mentally. Coming into the season, I just wanted to be a part of the team and play a lot of games. And that's I accomplished that one, I think. Played all the 82 games, and I felt good, and I'm very proud of the team in general, how we turned out like this season overall. I mean, it felt really good for me and the team.
Oscar, Pat was saying that the Oilers are not a joke anymore. After making a kind of a statement to the rest of the league, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we showed everybody that's interested in hockey that when we played the San Jose, we're a team to count on. And that group of guys we have right now, I'm very, very honored to be in this group of guys. I mean, I feel very, very comfortable with these group of guys, and I think we're a team to count on in many years in the future. So I'm very happy with where we are right now, and I mean, I'm looking forward to the next couple of years.
Connor mentioned that at the start of the year, not many people would have guessed that you guys get to the second round. When did you realize you guys had something special going this season?
I mean, I think that series against San Jose was a pretty, I mean, it was the experienced guys to the young guys, really, with no experience. And I mean, it's a good team, and the way we play those kind of games, and we got a little bit beat up there 7-0, and all the fans around them were like, now the experience kick in, and they're gonna probably get punished. But the way we responded, and we find some strength in some guys, and I mean, it's just very, very, I don't know, I'm very impressed of how some guys stepped it up in that series, and I'm very impressed by the team.
So if you had trouble breathing, how were you able to play the 5th game and when you got the shot?
I mean, just to stay out of the 7th game, it's going to take a lot to stay out of that one. I mean, obviously it's tough. Like I said, it was very tough to miss the game here in Rogers, but I mean, the 7th game, I was going to play with broken bones, I tell you that. You really want to be out there and help the guys. Now it turned out good when I didn't play here, but I mean, I didn't like it at all. It was a flashback from last year. So
when the game you got hurt in, though, you managed to play the rest of the game. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, you mean like that? Yeah, it got pretty swollen the night, and I couldn't get much sleep, and it was pretty bad couple of days afterwards. So, but now it turns out pretty good, and I mean, I'm very glad I played the last game.
Career year for you in games, but also points tonight.
I walked in the hotel after the game, went right to my room, shaved them off. So.
Is that hard for you?
Hard for me, not hard for my girlfriend.
Hard for the maid if you want.
Yeah, it was in the towel. Someone's not gonna be too happy about that.
How would you best describe what this last 18 months, of your professional hockey life has meant to you, just in the extent of the turnaround?
Yeah, it means a lot. I think to where I was to where I am now, from where the team was to where the team's now. Things are heading in the right direction personally and as a team, and it's exciting time. I've said it many times, exciting time to be an Edmonton Oiler. It's one of those things where, you grow so much passion for the city. It shows how passionate they are, the group we have in there. It's fun to come to the rink, and when it's fun to come to the rink, it's fun to go out there and battle with guys you like. So it was, out of my pro career, it was right up there with one of the best ones for sure.
So many guys on this team had career years this year. Even the rookies stepped in, Kajula and Benning, Talbot was on. How do you guys make sure that you didn't just catch lightning in a bottle and you're better next year?
Well, I think it's with the attitude and how we react. I think we know that next year we're going to have targets. We're no longer the Edmonton Oilers that get pushed around. We're no longer the Edmonton Oilers that are going to roll over and die. Everyone knows we're a good team, which we need to be ready for right out of the gates. Every game's important, especially the start. Everyone knows how big the start is. So everyone knows going into the summer that if you're not winning the cup, there's room for improvement. And that's where we stand. We got a little taste of it this year, and everyone's going to come back even more hungry next year.
Maroon was saying that Game 7 loss will kind of push you guys through those last few reps in the summer.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a series we felt we could have won. And no one's satisfied in there. Throughout the whole year, no one was satisfied. We'd go on runs. We had a good record. We finished second. It's one of those things we never felt satisfied, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
Has your agent discussed the contract extension? How important is that for you to get a deal done right away?
I haven't talked to my agent yet. I'm sure he'll be talking to Peter. Clearly, I want to stay. Like I mentioned, it's a great group of guys. Love playing for them, care about them. Hopefully, get something done.
You have to have a favorite. Do you like the role? I mean, when you played for Vancouver, what did you talk about?
Todd, a lot of the guys were kind of saying, you know, the bar has been raised now for going into next season, and that, you know, the Oilers, they're not going to catch anybody off guard going into next year. But can you just kind of speak to that and how things have changed?
I can, and we just had a team meeting where we addressed it. It's we've turned the page. Just like in the playoffs, we talked about parking games. We've got to park this year now, and we're already beginning to prepare for next year, in my opinion. You recover physically, mentally, you get some rest, you enjoy your family time, and then you begin to physically prepare, but you also mentally have to prepare for next year. And we had a good run this year, but this should become what the standard is, not an exceptional year. And that's our goal, is to make this type of year the standard and then push it from there. In Washington, in St. Louis, in New York, there's probably a little bit more pain in those communities after losing in the second round than there is here, simply because we hadn't experienced it for so long. But our group was told if we're lucky enough to get back to that situation and we don't have success, that should be very painful. And I mean that in a different way. It was painful because we didn't win and the guys wanted to. But, you know, there's a lot to build on. But eventually this has to become the norm with this organization. And I think that's a huge task that we have at the beginning of next year. And we better be ready for it.
Todd, when it comes to Connor and what he did this year and how he just elevated his game to a new level, and can you just give us a thought on the expectations of him coming in and whether or not he exceeded those expectations?
Well, he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. He led the league in scoring. He took a franchise with the help of everybody else and put it on his back and led us through a regular season that allowed us to participate in the playoffs for the first time in a decade. And then he, with the help of everybody else, pushed through a round and extended the last round to 7 games. That's a recap on his season. But when you think of it that way, as a 20-year-old basically playing his first full year in the National League, I think that's remarkable. And, you know, individually, he gets a ton of credit for it. But there is the group around him. We always use the term leadership group. From the minute that Connor put the C on his jersey, it was about the group. It wasn't just about him. And I thought they all did a really good job. You know, the sky's the limit for him as an individual. But there isn't sneaking up on teams anymore for him either as an individual. There's a specific target on his back. We saw that against Anaheim, and his task gets tougher as he continues to play in the league. But I also think that his tools get better as well. He gets more mature. He gets bigger and stronger. His confidence level should continue to grow. You know, so he has everything he needs to compete with that stress.
Now, do you think the playoff changed the perception of the player about how important the team is for the city?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Do you think the playoffs changed the perception of the player on how important the team is for the city?
Did the playoffs change the perception of how important the team is for Edmonton? You know what? I'd answer that question no. And the reason why I answer it no is because for the prior 10 years they were there with us. They didn't go anywhere. They weren't gone. Maybe the energy of the playoffs wasn't there, but they showed up every day at Rexall when it wasn't going good. I think the fans are more important to us than we are to them. And they've proven that for 10 years. So I don't know if I answered your question properly, but you know, they're more important to the team than the team is to them. I don't know if they think that way, but that's what I believe.
Todd, Everly has said that because he didn't score in the playoffs, he feels like he let the team down. He also feels like he's a better all-around player, and certainly that was part of what had to happen to the team, not just to him, but the team. They had to play the 200-foot game. How does he get offense back into his game?
Well, he's a tremendous player. He scores 20 to 25 goals every season. You can count on it from him. And that's not going away. When you get into a playoff scenario and it doesn't start well for you, it can snowball quickly. That's one of the experiences that we've learned. The players that are having great playoffs, you guys will talk about, write, and tell stories. The ones that are struggling maybe to provide what they normally do becomes a story, and the ones in between nobody talks about. So you want to be in one of the two middle groups. You sure don't want to be in the bottom group, and unfortunately Ebb slid into that bottom group. But we didn't get to the playoffs without him. He had an impact on our team, especially down the stretch when we won, I don't know, 15 of 18 games. He was a key piece. You can't completely evaluate him and pin his whole season on the playoffs. Of course, that's a time where you want guys to rise to the occasion. He didn't quite get it done, but he's a very important asset for our team, and confidence is huge moving forward. He'll get it back, and he'll be just fine.
Todd, further to Eberle, you've seen him now for 2 years, and before he used to be very quick from the circles in, and I know that defense has maybe changed their angles. We saw him button hooking a lot rather than going to the net as much as he had in the past. When your exit meeting is getting a little bit quicker something that possibly could help him next season?
Potentially. You know, you can, quick off the clock, if you will, the stopwatch, yeah, but, anticipation, reading plays, getting to the spot, release of shot. We have about 23 guys that can improve in that area. And we need that from everybody, not just Jordan.
Todd, you go into this season with, you don't want to pencil in lineups, but Kajula, Benning, Slepyshev, did they all prove to you that they can play a little higher up, maybe in the lineup than you thought going into after what went through the playoffs?
Well, they had the ability all year to do that. A lot of them did play up. You think about them in the lineups. It's whether they can consistently do that. And the difference of playing on the team and being a good player and a steady contributor and being a go-to higher-end top six guys, you got to do it every day. And the players that you talked about were very good in the playoffs. They contributed. Can they do that in October, and can they continue to do that through December and January and February? That's the next level that they have to get to, and we expect that group of players that you mentioned to get there.
So you've got through the playoffs. As a coach, what do you still need on your team apart from, getting through into a third round?
Well,
there are things that you still...
We need a little decompression time and an opportunity to sit back and look at our group and what our strengths and weaknesses were. We have a general feel, but there's a number of different factors that come into, and this year there's an extra one that come into moving forward, and the extra one is expansion. There's the business part of the cap, contracts, different scenarios, free agency, restricted free agency. All of those things have to be taken into consideration. Basically, we're on the counter with a whole bunch of ingredients now. Do we need to buy a little more flour, a little more sugar, that type of stuff? And we've got to figure that out over the next little bit. So at this point, I'm not, and I'm sure Peter won't be prepared to really analyze that with you.
Do you get the sense further to the point about grocery shopping? Patrick Maroon stated that he believes that, given some of the players, McDavid and Draisaitl, this is a very attractive place. Is there any way maybe you can educate us on how it's changed from a couple years ago when you and Pete first were here, even last year getting Luch, moving forward about the opportunities that will be here, and maybe the fact that they'll be increased given the success, moderate, that you've had to this point?
I can't speak for the 700 players that play in the league, and many of them are under contract and are happy where they're at. But there will be some players that get to decide this summer and in the future that, they may want to find a new home, and I can't think of a better one than here, really, when you think about the Cates family and what they've done as we're standing in it, and the resources they give us, the management team, the players we've assembled, and the drive that they've shown. If that all continues, we have a bright future. And I believe there's players that would like to be a part of that. And you see the building and you feel the fans. It's nice to come into that type of environment on a nightly basis. So I think it's, with Luch making his decision and some others that have come here, I think we're well on our way to being a spot that many players want to play in.
Todd, before the year, you made it very clear to Zach Kasten what his role was going to be, and he said that helped him. He knew what his expectations were, and he had a very consistent season. Younger guys, Slepyshev and Kajula, do you know what you have when you look at them? Do you see, is Kajula more of a potential top six than Slepyshev, that aggressive third-line guy? Where do you see those two going forward?
Well, when they're at their best and consistently at their best, I think they're top six players. And I kind of answered that already in some way, where the consistency is what has to occur now. Second, third year in the league, what are you consistently? You can't just hit a home run one night and we wait for you for 4 more. We need you to be on base on a regular basis and contributing. And that, again, is the evolution of a player. It comes with experience. It comes with understanding situations. Anton Slepyshev's 22 years old. We forget that. We talk about Connor and Leon being 20 and 21. He's 22 years old. He's come from another country. He's learning how to do those things. Drake hasn't played a full year. His year was very much like Connor's, where he missed a whole chunk of it. So we expect them to graduate and move up, but they have to consistently provide that to be huge impact players.
And then following up on that, Matt Benning on the back end, another young guy who came in Game 6, I think a lot of people were like, wow, because of the role he played at a crucial time. Did he maybe exceed what you thought he was capable of as a rookie, and does that change your expectations for him next year?
He exceeded what I thought he would do. That's about as upfront as I can be. We didn't play him in the first 6 games because we weren't sure. We played him in Game 7, if that's what it was. I don't know my numbers exactly, but we played him in Game 7. Not sure if we were going to play him in Game 8. Not sure if we were going to play him in Game 9, and all of a sudden it's Game 82 and he's still playing. Credit to him and to his partners that played with him and the group to bring him along, but he's a tremendous player.
Do you see Leon as the number 2 center or a right winger?
I think Leon's a forward. Again, it's a luxury we have. Leon and Connor were the pair that produced the most, I think, from a certain point in the season on. When we needed Leon down the middle, he did a tremendous job against a very good player in Getzlav. It's a tremendous luxury to have, to be able to put them together and pull them apart.
And Nuge, he got shoved down the lineup because Leon went to center. What do you see from him? What did you see from him this season?
Well, I don't want to spend, basically what we're doing now is going through the roster and I'm evaluating everybody. And I would rather take the opportunity to finish my one-on-one meetings and evaluate them face-to-face and then come back in July at summer camp and answer your questions, because I think this is our last meeting. I'm going to miss you guys a lot. A lot. But Nuge is a tremendous player. He's a detailed player. I think there's more offense to him, and that'll be the message that we'll deliver to him.
All right. Well, I was going to get you to directly evaluate Darnell Nurse, but we'll do it
in July
in a different fashion. Just about the importance. I mean, big step forward. I think everybody knows where you want to go, but just about being patient with guys, especially on the back end, because there are going to be some ups and downs, even for guys that are special athletes.
Absolutely, and patience with our team as well. We're still a developing, growing team. We'll have good nights next year. We'll have some bad nights next year, and we'll continue that growth process. The difference will be expectations. And it'll come from our fan base. It'll come through the media. It'll come from us as staff, as an organization, and most importantly, it'll come from the players. But there still is a development phase for everybody as they enter the league, and we have to understand that. And Darnell's still in that development phase. He did a tremendous job this year, but he's still got work to do, and he'll continue to grow. Okay. Yeah.
So after a couple of days to reflect on things, Connor, how would you sum up the entire season for you guys and the way it went?
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun. Definitely proud to be a part of this group. I think that's going to be a theme that I think a lot of players have said. It's fun to be a part of this, fun to see the city get behind us the way they did. And after 10 years of being a bad hockey team and still having the fan base that we do, I think all the players really appreciate that. So, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It was a great year.
A lot of guys have been saying the bar has kind of been raised now and that they're willing to establish themselves as kind of legit contenders going forward. Can you just comment on that?
Yeah, I think we definitely have to change our expectations. I don't think a lot of people had us going to the second round, in September, back when we first came together. So, coming in next year, I think it has to be a different mindset. We're not going to surprise any teams anymore. Teams know that we're a good hockey team, and they have to be ready to play.
What was it that worked about the relationship between you and Leon and some young guys in their early 20s, and maybe the Letestus and the Hendricks and guys in their late 20s and early 30s? How did that all gel? Why did it work so well?
I think the young guys keep the older guys feeling young, and the older guys, make us young guys feel like we have all the experience in the world when maybe we don't. And I think that's a relationship that's pretty special on this team. And we are a young team, but we do have those older guys, like you mentioned, that bring so much to our locker room.
Your focus all the time through the playoffs was on the team. Can you now assess the way you played?
It doesn't really matter now. The game's over. Yeah, I think I don't really know what to say about that.
How hard was it to adjust? I don't know if you've ever had like an actual shadow in a game, right? Like you've had to play against the top players all the time, but how different was it having a guy literally right in your hip pocket? Did it take you a few games to adjust to it? Because it seemed like, game 3, 4, and 5, obviously you scored, you figured it out. What did you figure out to use to your advantage?
Yeah, it's tough when you're not getting space. A guy like me needs time and needs to be able to get the puck and come through the middle with speed. And obviously when they're taking that away, it makes your job pretty tough. But I think that's never fun playing with a shadow or anything like that. But it's something you get used to.
Something that Sydney probably would have gone too. I remember reading it was the first time through the playoffs. You're in it, but you reflect a bit more when it's over with. Okay, I'm tired of the shadow, and I'm going to have to put up with it every time we're in the playoffs. Now it's like playing the same thing.
Yeah, it's something that maybe you get used to. Obviously, it was my first experience in the playoffs, and it was a good one. I definitely learned a lot about myself, about our team, and
A lot of guys were nicked up and bruises and stuff like that. How did you hold up through this whole thing physically?
yeah, I felt pretty good.
You had an unreal run, 25 points in the final 14 games and looked way more confident. You got to 100 points. What do you use as the barometer to challenge yourself for next season? Are there any areas of your game you feel slightly you want to improve on?
You're always looking to improve, honestly. There's many things that you get better at. And in this game, everyone's always getting better. There's always new faces, showing up, and it's your job to kind of keep up with that. And it's going to be a good summer of lots of hard work, like it always is, and can't wait to get back.
What about face-offs? How do you feel you can improve in that area?
Yeah, I think that's also something that comes over time, just experiencing it, getting stronger as you get older, getting stronger in the summer, that whole thing. But face-offs, I feel like, is a lot of experience. You look at all the young guys in the league, most of the young guys, I would say, kind of go through that. Even the best face-off guys in the NHL, I think, when they're 18, 19, 20, they probably weren't that great. So, it's a learning curve, and something I definitely want to improve in.
But when people tell you you should shoot more, you still scored 30, so it doesn't matter. You still scored 30.
Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing out there. I have a pretty good idea, at least. I do understand that. People have that image of me, and I should shoot more. I think I pass up a lot of opportunities to shoot, but at the same time, I'm always trying to make the right play. Everyone is out there. I want to do what's best, and if I see someone's open, I'm going to give them the puck.
Maroon was saying that he kind of thinks that this summer he'll
excites you just to kind of see maybe signs on here and wants to come here?
Yeah, I think with the new building and the city the way it was, and the group that we have in here, I think if you're a free agent, I think it'd be hard not to look at in Edmonton. You know, with that saying, there's obviously a lot of different things that go into where someone signs, and you know, but Edmonton is a great place to play.
Connor, different players process the end of the season. If you don't win the Stanley Cup, obviously there's disappointment. How do you take when you don't get the result you want? Do you chew on it for days and days? Will it eat you up this summer? Like how do you process this?
It sucks, obviously. I mean, we want to still be playing hockey, and that's obviously the end goal, but it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it now. The only thing we can do is get better, work hard in the summer, and come back and do it all again. And you know, everyone's upset, everyone's disappointed, but ultimately there was a lot of good things that came out of this year, and I think people can feel good about that.
And what about the two-prong attack with you and Leon as centers? What dynamic changed from late center to post?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it makes us deeper. It makes us a harder matchup. But at the same time, we can always know that we can go back to that, and we can play together, and we've been successful together, and we've been successful away from each other. So you know, he's obviously one of my favorite guys to play with, and I think everyone can agree in saying that he's pretty underrated, and you saw what he did in the playoffs. I think that kind of speaks for itself.
Todd said the thing that maybe impressed him the most about you was a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't see, being a captain at such a young age. How much of an adjustment was that for you, and how much easier will it be maybe next year, you know, having gone through the whole first year as a captain?
Yeah, obviously, you know, there's a learning curve when you're a captain, and especially when you're a young captain. And you know, but I've always said all along, there's a great locker room in there. There's a great group of guys, and you know, they make it very easy to be a captain of this team.
Thanks, Connor. Thank you. Thanks for the time this year.
Thanks, guys. Have a good summer. Thank you.
Time with a few days to process it all. Can you maybe just reflect on the way it finished up and the season in general?
I mean, obviously, whenever you don't get a chance to advance, it never really goes your way. But I mean, we took a lot of big strides this season as a group and individually, I think. And I mean, I think that for this organization, we really raised the bar, and I think we're gonna have to come out, and we're not gonna catch anyone by surprise next year, and we're gonna have to come ready to play and play up to those standards that we set this year.
So you ready to play another 73 next year, or are
We'll play
considering you might have a deep playoff run next year that cut you back?
I'll be ready to play as many as they need me to play, but if it comes to 73 or 75, I'll be ready.
Kim, what was your relationship, if anything, like with Grant Fuhrer this year? I know he was really happy for you breaking the record and his wins record.
Yeah, he was unbelievable when the fact that he even made the drive down to LA that day to hopefully see me break it that night. Obviously, I wasn't able to. I broke it the next night in San Jose. But I mean, just the support and the belief in me that he showed this season was incredible. It was coming from a guy like that, a Hall of Famer and one of the best goalies to ever play. I mean, that meant a ton to me personally, and that was just an unbelievable show of support from him.
You had a career year, and so did many others. I mean, this all kind of happened in one season. What do you make of that?
I mean, like I said, it was a real group effort. So many guys stepped up this year in different situations, and like I said, we really raised the bar for ourselves this year. I mean, the city itself was excited, and you could feel the energy in the city this year, and I think that's what we're going to strive to accomplish again next year. I mean, we could feel everyone behind us this year, and obviously it didn't end the way that we wanted it to. We're going to come out next year and push the envelope a little bit more next year and try to get a little bit further and get to our ultimate goal.
When so many guys have career years like that, and you guys had such good luck health-wise, how hard is it going to be to duplicate that or improve on it, I guess?
I mean, I think it just makes everyone hungrier. I mean, you go into the off season and you know what we can accomplish as a group now. And like I said, I think we took a huge step this year, but there's always that next level that we can find. And I think as a group, we're ready to take that step. And I think come September in training camp, we'll be ready to take that step together.
Anybody asked you to go play in the Worlds?
They did, yes. Yeah, I'm on daddy duty now, so they spent some time with the kids this summer, and I had played a lot of hockey this year, so I felt like I just needed the rest.
You're finally saying you're tired, thanks.
Yeah, more mentally than physically. Yeah. I feel like I still could have played another 14 if needed be. I mean, that was the goal, and I mean, if it came down to that, and it took another 7 games for the next 2 series, I would have been just fine to play those. Let's not kid ourselves there.
Was playing in the playoffs, is it like double learning experience for a goalie as well as they always say players if you get to sort of shadow on you and stuff? What about for a goalie?
I mean, everything kind of ramps up in the playoffs. It's a different atmosphere, and you never know what it's like until you're part of it. I sat there and watched it for 2 years and a couple deep playoff runs, and I got to learn a lot about how taxing it was, not only physically and how demanding the schedule is, but how grueling it is mentally for the guys too. So personally, I saw it, but I never really went through it. But I think that my first taste of playoff hockey, I think I managed it pretty well and performed at a pretty high level.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, you too.
of this playoff run, and what will you remember, playing in those 13 postseason games?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it was, great to get the city and the fans buzzing again for Oilers hockey, and I think there's definitely a lot to look forward to heading into next year, and I know the fans feel the same way, and obviously there's a lot more expectation moving forward and heading into next year, and so as a player going into next year, it's very promising and to come to a situation like this where your group can have success. So it's definitely a lot to look forward to heading into the summer and coming into next season.
What do you think that does for a lot of the young guys that have gone through this for the first time? They've got a taste of it, and like you said, I mean, the bar's been raised.
Yeah, it's great, and it's great to see the young guys raise their level of play, and I know for a lot of them, it's it's definitely a good feeling, even though it sucks that we lost the last series, but it's definitely a good feeling to be playing into May. So the one thing though is heading into next year is with the expectations being raised, not just here by the fans and the media and ourselves, the expectation is raised throughout the league, and you're not going to be surprising teams anymore. So we need to expect everyone's best game when they come into Edmonton, and that's going to be the challenge heading into next year.
Is he kind of excited about the lure that the Oilers have kind of created for potential free agents now? Is that something that you're?
Yeah, for sure, and I think with this rink and with this team, I think players definitely want to be a part of this team, and I think there's a lot of promise heading into the future, and it's like I said, it's a lot to look forward to heading into next year.
In your eyes, what does this team need to do to get to that next level? You've been there, you know what those teams are built of. What's it going to take?
It's just being prepared and raising your level, and I think a lot of guys learned a lot of lessons this year, and not just in the season and in the playoffs. Knowing how you need to play, and knowing how you need to prepare, and knowing that you need to bring your best every night to have success. And we had it for a majority of the season here this year. So and getting to the second round, we know what it takes now to get there, and we know that we need to give a little more to move on. And I think our team game and buying into the system, we did a good job of that. And I think if we keep going and do a little more of that, it'll help us take that next step.
Todd spoke about how he felt kind of midway at the three-quarter point, you became like an Edmonton Oiler, like you felt emotionally attached to the team. How much easier will next year be for you right from the get-go, coming in year number 2, knowing the city, knowing the players, feeling more comfortable? Is that a factor in just how you play on the ice?
Yeah, for sure. It's just knowing what to expect and just being comfortable with the situation is helps with a lot of things. And there was a lot of unknown coming into this season, with a new group, all new teammates, new coaching staff, new city, all that type of stuff. So first time playing in a Canadian city, so there was a lot of things that were unknown for myself heading into this season. And I think it took a little bit for me to kind of find my way and embrace being an Oiler throughout this year. But heading into next year, knowing what to expect, there's definitely a lot more confidence from my end coming into next year.
How much, or what's the noticeable difference for you? And you played in a hockey market in Boston, Original 6, but what was the biggest difference being in a Canadian market?
Not, to be honest, not much. The pressures are all the same. It's, it's more so. There's always the internal pressure, and I think that's something that I focus on more than anything is focus on your teammates and your coaching staff and the people in the internal part of a hockey team and obviously being in Edmonton where we're the biggest show in town, it's a little different, coming from a place like Boston where there's 3 other teams and they're all doing so well. Sometimes you can fly under the radar a little bit, where here you don't really fly under the radar. But I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have that pressure, and I think it's good to have that accountability from the fans and from the city. And I think that's what will help us, play for them and keep moving on and keep moving forward. All right.